Is she been struggling with her?
She can't understand you. I can't understand her.
That makes sense.
Okay. It's 7. Yeah, that's.
All right, it's 7. Let's do it. Shall we?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which I stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's do a roll call.
Councilmember Armstrong. Fallon.
Here.
Farrell. Here. Happy.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Wood.
Here.
Okay, additions or amendments to the agenda?
We have our auditors here, so we'd like to move item 7B to just after 5B discussion. And that's the only change.
That's it. Remember that? Okay. Approval of February 14th, 2022 City Council minutes.
Make a motion for the approval of February 14th, 2022 City Council minutes.
Generally, we do the consent agenda all together.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Follow the consent. Yeah,
Okay.
Read my thing.
Do you want me to amend my motion?
just make the.
Okay.
Consent agenda.
There you go.
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I second.
All approve? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed?
He's in favor.
He's in favor.
He's just.
Okay. Now B,
Now,
Now,
4,
public hearing,
we have none.
none. Action items, appointment to committees.
We have none.
All right, and then we're B, select process to fill council vacancies.
With the passing of the mayor, we have the vacancy on the council of the mayor's position outlined in the staff report, what the city charter requires, and gave you 4 options to discuss.
Does everybody have a clear understanding of the 4 options, or should we go over
I have a clear understanding.
them? Did Pete give us information?
He does.
Okay, Pete, you have your information?
I do.
Okay, thank you. So I think we'd like to go around and just hear from individuals on what your thoughts are and because we've got 4 options. Okay. Butch, you want to go first?
Well, I would say option number 1 is out. Noted that.
Okay.
Option number 2 is in play. I
Uh-huh.
think option 3 is out, and I think option 4 is in play. I think those number 2 and 4 are our best options to do. And that's number 2 is to replace with a member of the current council. Does not have to be the council president. Number 4 is to appoint any eligible citizen in any manner the council chooses.
That means like draw cards.
No. Don't roll the dice.
That means we were able to pick anybody within the city of Cascade lots. That means
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Adam is a voter.
Mhm.
I just got a text from Julie. She won't make it on Zoom. I have COVID and I simply cannot stay awake or focus. I intended on attempting Zoom, but I don't even feel well enough to get it to work. So I'm sorry.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Gosh, she's at the tail end of it. All right. Tammy, you want to go next?
Actually, I agree with Butch on the options, with
all the changes Cascade Locks is having and fire season incoming, I don't think we should leave it vacant. And then I kind of go back and forth a little bit with replacing with current council or an eligible citizen. The only one I can think of personally for an eligible citizen would be Tom Cramblett. And that's only because I know that he has the experience and he'd be able to jump into the position. And so that's where I am at, and I'll let anyone else go, and then we can discuss if you want.
Okay.
Pete, how about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, and I'm totally in agreement with you. I think it's too far out to say we need to just, if it was September, it'd be a different situation about leaving the office vacant until November, but I agree. I think we need to fill it. I think that if we were to replace it with a member of the current council, then that just creates another issue with us having to fill a position on the current council. So if we have someone in the community like Tom Cramblett that could fill that vacancy, I think that that's a great solution. But I don't know Tom.
Okay, thank you. Brenda?
Yeah, I would actually make a motion to appoint Tom Cramblett, only because that's, he was the mayor. He has experience. He knows all the things that are going on in our community still, as far as the wastewater, all the things like how the events happen in town. He has a lot of experience. And then the term's up in November, so someone's gonna run for it anyway, so it's only for a few months. And he has all the experience, and we're in a unique situation to where we have our city administrator that is retiring, we have Mary Ann that's retiring. We need someone in here that knows how to do it and what's going on. I mean, that's a plus, that knows what's going on in the community and is vested and has been served as mayor. So I think as the community, they've already elected him as a mayor before. I don't think the community would have a problem. So
Just a point of order. There is a motion.
Yes.
Motion.
I made a motion.
So, look, we're not at the discussion point yet, so.
Okay.
Is there a second, I guess, question?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, now we can discuss.
So I said what I was done.
Right. Well, here, I would agree with everyone about taking number 1 off, leaving it vacant. I'm in agreement with that, definitely. Replace with a member of current council. It doesn't have to be the president, it doesn't have to be me. I know this is going to be tough. I've had a lot of conversations with Mayor Walker and a lot of on why he chose me to be president. He never had an unkind word to say about anybody. And he made me promise him if anything happened to him that I would step up. And I used to joke, I said, nothing can happen to you. Okay, I'm not going anywhere. But I did make a promise to him that I would. If it was that scenario that I became mayor till the end of the year, then that leaves this position open. So we would have to get a new president. Plus, we would replace my remainder of the year, or the 2.5 years for city council.
No, the replacement.
Or the replacement.
If it's this
Right.
early, it would be the 4th council position
Right.
in November for 2 years.
Right. So, that's what I promised him. Any eligible citizen, Tom Cramblett, I think he is well versed. I think has a good history as well. I just kind of where I'm at. It's just I really urged all city council members to really always behave above board and to act accordingly. And part of the, that I had Gordon sent out is because, you know, things weren't being done on the up and up. And,
It was not illegal.
but it's open to interpretation.
So can we,
You know.
can I
so-
speak? Can I ask a question? For what, so you're making references that I'm not understanding the references that you're looking at me? So are you referring that I was doing something?
Well, I just would like to see all city council members.
I wasn't doing anything. I talked to Tamara. I asked her, like, I didn't tell her anything. I just said, hey, I went over and I talked to Tom as a community member, a citizen of Cascade Lots, and as a council person, let him know and ask if he would perhaps be interested, because he may not be. And then but I wasn't going around to all council members, so that's not true.
Well, we
Didn't
just
talk
have
to
to
me.
be,
No, I did not talk to you.
we just have to be careful. I'm just saying, we just have to be careful with that.
I
moving
was,
forward.
but to refer that I was doing anything illegal is inappropriate, especially in a city council
Well,
meeting. No, I don't take time to that. I have my own dignity, I guess I would say, and all that.
right,
And for you to refer that to me
right.
is very unprofessional and very uncouncilman-like. And we need to go on, or don't, I don't need to talk.
Well,
I need to take
I
time
just,
out.
I just want to say, hang on, Butch. I just want to say, on city council, it is okay to disagree with one another. It is okay to have your own opinion, but to always be respectful towards one another, always. And that's what I'd like to see. So, I'm not against Tom Cramblett. I think he's great.
Can I ask a quick question, Kathy?
Sure.
How's Tom feel about, I mean, it says option 4 is we can appoint any eligible citizen, but I don't want to
Sure.
appoint someone if they don't want the job, you know, like, how's Tom feel about this?
Well, I haven't had the opportunity to ask him. But,
He has been asked and he is willing to serve for the remainder of the year.
okay. Sounds like, did you hear that? Pete?
I did not hear that. No, sorry, Gordon, can you say that again?
Tom has been asked and he has indicated that he would, if he could get 4 votes, he would be willing to serve for the rest of the year.
Well, if he's, I mean, and we have a motion that's been seconded to appoint Tom as the until November as the mayor.
Well, it's till December,
End of
Till
December,
Till December.
through December.
end of the year.
Through December.
The election is in November.
The election's in November, so it'd be until December. And we have a motion that's been seconded to move that forward.
Butch, do you have a
Yeah,
comment?
Pete, I just want to clue you in a little bit about Tom. He has past mayor for 8 years. And he's only been out of office for about a year now, so a little over a year. So he's well versed in everything that we're doing. And a lot of things we're doing is we're finishing up projects that he started, so. He would be a great addition, and he's a great leader.
Thanks, Butch. And I did talk with Gordon a little earlier and I asked, you know, why did he step down? You know, what happened? And it seemed like he'd been on city council for, what'd you say, Gordon, 8 years and then 2 terms as the mayor. And it was just, he kind of moved out because he wanted, you know, he'd been dedicating a lot of his time to the city. You know, it wasn't, so it seemed like he left on for good reasons and had done a lot to help the city already and is willing to step up again.
His wife asked him to step down, but she said it's okay for him to come back.
All right.
For 10 months.
He did a good job. I like
And
it.
she's no.
Oh, good. Well, there's a motion on and been seconded. Is there any other discussion?
I was just gonna say that, you know, if we were to move forward with option 2, I did feel like we had some other people that had expressed interest in joining the city council that were other good candidates. So, you know, it's nice to know we have some bench strength there in the community and interest, that we've got options, and that's a good position to be in.
It is.
And we encourage them all to run,
Mm,
get your name into the county by August. For those
Mhm.
terms that are expanded. Thank you. Vote.
All right, a vote. All in favor of Tom Cramblett?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passes.
I will be happy to
Yay.
inform them of that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He can eat you out of office.
No, he's gonna kick me out. We have with us a 7B, we have Tanya Moffett and Daniel Whitmore with us. With us to present our audit books, and Tanya, take off your mask and take it away.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me online? Or am I not on that?
He said he can hear you.
Okay, well, this is the recording too. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, he said yes.
I'm Tanya Moffett and I'm partner with Marina and Company, and I'm here to present the June 30, 2021 audited financial statements for the city of Cascade Rocks. Our audit opinion is an unmodified or clean opinion, which is the highest level of a financial statement opinion that we can give on a financial statement. Our opinion is limited to the basic financial statements and supplementary information. We've applied limited procedures to some parts of the financial statements, for example, management discussion and analysis. It's one of my favorite parts in the financial statements, so if you're only going to look at one thing, look at the management discussion and analysis. I know it's not audited by us, but it has 2 years worth of information. It compares that information at a very high level for the whole city. So it says like increased because of this, it's decreased because of that. And so it's a really short kind of synopsis of what's going on. It also has information about assets and debt. So it's a great place to look. The introductory section has not been audited by us, so if somebody's name is spelled wrong, not my fault. And then we also performed a single audit. So anytime that there is an entity expends over $750,000 of federal funds, the federal government says they want us to come in and look at grant compliance. So we looked at that as well, and we didn't have any findings there. We didn't have a lot of this.
We initially thought we did.
We did not.
You left it on my script. That I can't do. That I can't do. Because I was like, where's the copy of it? Normally I have a copy with me. There were no restrictions placed on our audits. When we asked for stuff, we had full access to the entire staff, because we don't just talk to only Mary Ann, we also go harass other people as well. We try to keep it in line, but we do. That there were also no disagreements with management and no new significant accounting policies. So what that means is if you look at the June 30, 2021 audited financial statements and compare them to the June 30, 2020 financial statements, you're comparing apples to apples, because a lot of times the accounting standards board, who sets the standards, they make significant changes. And so sometimes they aren't comparable, but right now they are for 2020 and 2021. There are some accounting estimates in the financial statements, for example, depreciation. Like we don't know exactly how long a truck's gonna last, because maybe it's gonna last 3 years, maybe it's gonna last 20 years. Don't exactly know. So there's an estimate for like useful lives of things. So that's one of the estimates in the financial statements, as well as compensated expenses payable. So that's like vacation pay. We don't know when people are going to take their vacations. And so the rate that's in the audited financial statements is what their pay rate was as of June 30, 2021. So if they've had increases, like salary increases or whatnot, it might actually be a little bit higher what you actually pay out for vacation payable. The other one is net pension liability as well as other post-employment healthcare benefits. And those are numbers that come from an actuary. So city staff is not coming up with those numbers. We're not coming up with those numbers. There's an actuary that comes up with those numbers, and they do it based on life expectancy, age of employees, all of that kind of stuff. As long as the city's making the required annual contributions, theoretically will cover that pension liability and as liability. We did not find any transactions entered into the city that lacked authoritative guidance. We did not know any material misstatements in the financial statements. So we didn't have anything that we were concerned about. In some instances, the city staff may consult with an outside accountant or CPA. We are not aware of any of those outside consultations. And then there's also another report at the very end of the audited financial statements on page 85. And this is like the very last page of the financial statements. And it's an independent auditor's report on minimum standards. And so what this is the Oregon State Legislature has some specific things that they want municipal auditors to look at. So for example, Oregon budget law, ORS 279, which is public purchasing. So when the city goes and does a project, that it's advertised in the paper, so everybody has an opportunity to come and bid on those projects. And then whoever's awarded the projects, we go and look and make sure that they have insurance and that the city's named on the insurance. So they're not all just financial related things that we look at. These are just the things that the Oregon State Legislature said, we really want municipal auditors, when you're going out and looking at a city or a special district or something like that, we want you to look at these specific things, making sure the highway or the gas funds are spent correctly, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm happy to report that we only had 2 minor findings that we had. We actually just discovered that one of them was actually incorrect. And that's on page 86. And so the general fund agency fund, it says that it's over appropriations by 31,660. That is incorrect because there was a supplemental budget, and that should have, it is in the administration category and it should have moved to the agency. So that should not have been on there. And then the general fund transfers out of like 2,900 or 393. So it's common to have over expenditure. So it just, things happen at the end of the year, things you just don't know about. Unfortunately, we didn't catch the one on the agency budget category. So, does anybody have any questions for me on the financial statements? Yes.
Okay, so you didn't catch it. What does that mean?
So we drafted the statements. And then Mary Ann looked at them, but we didn't catch it until just now. Like we were just in the other room pulling stuff up on the computer to try to figure out why she had a difference from what we had, and that's what it was. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had it highlighted in pink, so thank you.
Does anybody have any questions on the audit process, on what we do, what we look at? Our information is on the auditor's reports and on the letters, our contact information, if anybody has any questions for us later on as well. But it's a pleasure to get to come out to Cascade Glass and see you all tonight. So.
Yeah. The only thing I noticed that you had wrong was my address.
Not my fault, remember?
What, did you move? Did you move?
No, yeah, post off box 11 on here, and it's 111.
Oh.
His fault.
Oh, that's a significant.
I told you, I don't audit that. Because inevitably somebody finds their name spelled wrong or an address is wrong. So I would preface it, but I didn't audit it.
So have you filed this with the state already?
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
I found it.
Like we submit the summary of revenues and expenditures, and then usually.
I submitted that along with the
Payment.
listed payment.
No,
Well, thank you.
thank
Have a
you.
good night, you guys.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. My apologies for my behavior.
It's all good. It's all good.
We're human.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some of it more than others.
All right. Approve IGA with
LCOG.
LCOG.
Yes, Wayne Council.
LCOG.
Yes, a COG is a council of governments.
Thank you.
This is Wayne County
County.
Council of Governments. And they're the ones that we approved at the last meeting, and so this is the intergovernmental agreement. When you work government to government, we don't do contracts, we do IGAs. So
Okay.
this is what will, they've already signed it, so I'm just looking for your approval so that I can sign it, and send it back to them tomorrow. I've already had 3 meetings with them. Brenda Lee Wilson and Ross Schultz, who is actually running the recruitment, will be with us at our next council meeting to talk to you about the brochures and anticipations of what we would like to see. So we're off and running. They have a very aggressive timeline, as you can see. They think they can get somebody under contract by the end of June. That doesn't mean that they will be here. It could. But they again, I promised you before, I will stay until 1 week after the
1 week.
after the new person starts, or June 30th, whichever is later.
Feeling hopeful. A few other people that hiring is similar.
Yeah, they're a much higher, bigger city.
Right.
You know, so.
But they're not. Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, so if things don't align just perfectly, things don't. Is it customary that, is it written in any procedures that Kathy Woosley would step in? I know that when you had to leave, like she became the runner of the.
I have often threatened Kathy with taking over my position. But I am staying until whoever comes starts, whether that's June, July, August, September, October. I will stay until then. Just because I don't want to put you in a position where you have to have an interim city manager. That's just not,
Okay.
that's my promise to you.
Okay. Thank you. Move to approval?
I need to move.
I have a couple questions. When
Please.
Go for it.
on the last page of this that they sent out, posting sites,
Yes.
and it says League of Oregon Cities and stuff, who is paying them fees? Is that in addition to that?
No, we pay for those. We pay public.
So it's in addition to the 10,000?
Yeah, but we have that budget. It's normal.
Okay. And then the timeline seems like, I'm not crazy about the timeline. It's March, yeah, I get that we kind of
Mhm.
didn't move our feet very quick. But the timeline on this is, it's, they don't seem, I can't find it, but there's a timeline and it just doesn't seem like there's any hurry.
Well, you've got, there's a process you have to follow, and they're gonna start the review May 2nd. Any applications that have come in May 2nd, and hopefully be able to come and talk to you in the first week or the first council meeting in May or second council meeting in May about who the candidates are, who you want to interview. We have to set up interviews, you got to give them that kind of time. So I think it's a very aggressive timeline. Because when I was hired, it took 7 months, and here they're trying to do it in 4.
Hey, Brenda, this is Pete Happy. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I looked at that and started looking backwards. You know, I started June 13th and then worked backwards from that.
Yeah.
And if we could actually have someone on contract for the new city manager by June 13th, that's, in my opinion, a big win. And
Yeah.
working backwards, it seems like, yeah, it feels slow, but I think it's just realistic. You know, I think these things take time, and I'm grateful that we're actually not rushing through it.
I am too. I am not grateful that we waited so long to get the process going, because this is of our own fault. And I didn't realize that through it and being able to do it, that it all takes time. But my scare is like, this is the timeline they're giving us, and then it don't happen until November or December, and then we got Gordon's wages, and we're gonna, I just, so you see where I'm headed with that? kind of like same thing, Mary Ann, we don't know if we're gonna have anybody by June, and she's already retired, you know?
Of course,
So,
he's
we
not
got-
staying, but a week after.
And I understand your willingness, and I'm grateful for that, so don't hear me wrong. But I don't want it to drag on forever either. So is it guaranteed, is there a guarantee or no?
There is no
Because we could have one person or no people or many people, yeah.
They estimate they'll have about 15 candidates, 5 will be viable candidates, that they'll be 2. That's been their experience as they run these types of recruitment.
Okay,
So we're trying to do it as fast as we can, but let's do it right as we do it.
yeah, I get that, for sure.
And
Quick
then you
question for you, Gordon, regarding those sites. Did that list of sites seem like it's, we've hit kind of what we need to hit? If you're, I mean, you've been in this position where you're looking for work. Do you think that the people that are the right candidates are going to be looking in these places for employment?
Yeah, you're gonna get 80% of your applicants coming through the League of Oregon Cities website. What we're doing by doing ICMA Job Centers National, you might get somebody that is retiring someplace and wants to come here for 5 years or whatever through that website. But then there's the diversity, equity, and inclusion websites, the Hispanic Network, the early ELGL, early, I can't remember, government leaders. So, and the League of Women in Government and the National Forum for Black Administrators, that's an attempt to reach out to diversify. So it's really a broad scope of places to hire, but 80% of your candidates are gonna come from the League of Oregon Cities.
Yeah, then isn't $45 for Craigslist kind of a waste of money?
You know, you never know. Maybe there's some business guy out there that's, I mean, I came from the business world into the small city management.
I kind of have the same thought, Butch, but I think, but at the same time, I think we should cast a wide net, and it's, let's.
And you, when you talk with them, when they come at the next council meeting, you can come pick them up. I mean, that's no problem.
I had, and then just, so the money, we're paying the money for the site. Are we spending the money on the manpower to put the ad into, or
No, they will do that.
they'll do that? We just provide the money? Okay,
That's.
that makes it better.
No, they do all the contacting.
Okay.
Notifications.
Okay,
We will list it on our city website.
right.
But they'll do all the rest of it.
Yeah.
They'll do the ads. I reviewed their first draft brochure today. So they're working really hard at trying to get this up and running and going. So,
And they are coming to ask all of us what we want to see. So I just would encourage everyone to kind of have a list of
They're
kind of
gonna,
a
they're gonna be here on the
Right.
14th. They're gonna meet with the staff at 3 o'clock to talk to them about what they want to see. So,
Mhm.
and Brenda, Ross and I are gonna go out to dinner, and then we'll come back to the staff for the council meeting on the 14th. We'll spend an hour and a half with you on just walking you through the brochures, walking you through what you want to see, making any kind of adjustments that you want to see, and getting your input on what kind of.
what's important to you.
Yeah.
So the job doesn't actually open until March 28th. Everybody see
That's
that?
correct.
Okay.
Yes, because they gotta have time to react, do the
Yeah.
brochures and do all the rest of it.
Okay.
And then from March 28th to May 2nd is when the first applications will be reviewed.
All right.
So I need a motion to approve the IGA, please.
I'll propose a motion. You all hear me? I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement for the Lane Council of Governments for the purpose of recruiting a new city administrator.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. approve the 2022-2023 council goals.
This is what we talked about at our work session last time, and we added the stop signs for Brenda.
Thank you. I had a question on that if I could.
Sure.
Is it a reason why we listed under public works?
Yeah, they're the ones that are gonna do the installation.
Okay. So
And maybe-
does that mean that they would have more money? I don't, would it come out of their budget?
No, I don't know where it's gonna come out.
Okay.
But I had put it up there because they're the ones that are gonna have to put it, install it, maintain it, make sure the batteries are working, you know.
Right.
The trailer, move it. You know, it's gonna
Okay.
be a public works.
I just want to make sure it gets in the budget and stuff in the right area.
That's not, that's not a stop sign, it's the trailer, it's the,
Again, it's.
How fast or a post?
Yeah.
It could be a post, you know.
Okay.
But it could be one-on-one.
And yeah, if we put posts on eastbound or westbound Forest Lane and eastbound Wanapa, and, you know, but this is the next fiscal year to review the options, see what's available, see what, I just noticed, White Salmon has just a little sign, and that's gotta be less than $3,500. So if we can buy a bunch of those and stick them throughout, and then we don't have to move it, everybody's gonna see it all the time. So we have to look at the options, we'll bring them back to you, of course. Figure out
It's
how.
funny, I brought that up about the speed limit sign, then not only did I notice a sign that was similar to what I was describing as I was going into Stevenson, but also coming across the Bridge of the Gods. Yeah. So
Yeah.
a couple of good examples there. And I don't want to delay our discussion, you know, moving forward with the adoption of the city council goals for 2022 to 2023, but I did want to talk about, and I feel like it's not on here. We talked about seek funding for expanded law enforcement presence. We did just have some crime that took place in the city with a bunch of the senior center. A lot of their cars got broken into, I understand, last week. And I wondered if it was possible to put something on the city council goals to look at the, you know, whether it's under electrical or public works, but the installation and looking at options for cameras that are major ingress and egress points around town.
We have discussed that before, Pete. The problem with cameras is resolution. You may not be able to identify anybody that you see. You may not. It's not like the TV shows where they can zoom in on FBI and get the license plate and start looking at all that stuff. The port has offered to do some of that work for us, or be available for us, because they have some cameras that are generalized. But it is we can actually include that if you want to under seek money for expanded law enforcement presence. But those kinds of systems are not efficient, and they'll soon figure out where they are and avoid them. So
I guess my point on this, Gordon, is that I think you're right. I don't think that whether there's police here or not, it's not going to stop people from committing crime. But if we can have cameras that can help us to, you know, for incident investigation after the fact, it might help to hold people accountable. And I'm just proposing that we look into options to see if that'd be a feasible, you know, can we do something on street lamp poles? I don't know what's out there, but I do know that when I've worked at Meadows, we really relied on the cameras we had in the parking lots for incident investigation heavily. And it didn't do much to prevent the crime, but it did help us a lot of times to track down the perpetrators after the fact.
I'm on board with Pete on this, and I think cameras would be a great addition. And yeah, we have a small area, so few cameras in just some ideal spots. If people even know they're there, we're such a small city, they'll avoid the whole city.
it's a deterrent.
That's good.
Maybe.
Mhm.
I mean, just to share kind of a story, my dad lives in Greenwater. It's a small little town up off the side of Mount Rainier. Their fire department, he's a volunteer fire department, was broken into, and they literally stole the jaws of life from the fire department. They were able to pull camera coverage, cameras, and pull footage, and they could see the car that was leaving, and they saw the equipment in the back of the guy's pickup. They pulled the license plate, and they were able to track the guy down. And so just one example from another small community. It didn't prevent the crime from occurring, but it did allow them to get their jaws of life back.
And I think a lot of the camera resolution stuff is when I worked for Broadway and the city, and I was on the council that brought cameras into cabins for us. And we actually went through the cameras. We went through 7 sets of cameras before we picked one. And the resolution of that camera that we picked to the cabin, crystal clear. So.
Okay, let's include it under the expanded law enforcement presence. Maybe it's
I like that.
homegrown, but we can do that.
Thank you.
So with that addition,
You need a motion?
to adopt the council goals.
Yeah, I make a motion to adopt the council goals for 21.
2022, 23.
Yeah, 20,
Oh, I got them on the wrong
20,
thing.
22, 23. How's that?
Yeah, as amended.
Hasn't.
As a,
I second
second
that
that.
motion.
That's not my paperwork. Mess.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? All opposed?
Thank you.
It passes. All right. So let's see, approval of 22-23 budget calendar.
Mary Ann put this together. It meets all of the dates for publications and announcements. Gives us a couple of weeks if we need to review the budget.
I had a quick question if I could ask real for a moment.
Oh.
On on the recommended fiscal year 22-23 budget process schedule, item 11, you've got all the different departments. What are the numbers in parentheses mean?
It's the fund number, so you can find your way. The budget is built in fund order, but we don't necessarily discuss them in fund order. Like the administration's general funds number 1, and those are the other general administration funds.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
When you get through a budget, you will understand it a little better. It'll be, it's 120 pages, 130 pages last year.
Got it.
Hey, I gotta know all that.
Oh,
Thank you.
timeline looks good to me. So, Gordon, this is, or Mary Ann, this is pretty much a template of what we've done in the past and the timeframes have worked and, yeah, okay.
It's, the timeframes are the ones that are adopted by, or required by budget law. So we have to, so many days ahead of publication, we have to do that kind of stuff. So that it's all based on that.
Well, I recommend adoption of the proposed budget process for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Waited that time. All opposed? Right. Appearance of interested citizens to share a variety of perspectives, facing issues.
Anybody want to say anything?
Oh,
Good. Take a few more minutes because I'm trying to find there it is. Once my city administrator report.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, Gordon, you're up.
Thank you. I would just like to take a moment to thank Bobby Dale Walker for his efforts as mayor. Express our condolences to his family and just offer much gratitude for all the work that he did over the years for our community. Thank you for that. Pete asked me a good question today about the wastewater spill. It's been all cleaned up. We reported it all to DEQ. They have indicated that they're grateful that it's cleaned up, but they have not yet come back with any kind of action on penalties or anything like that. What their biggest concern is how are we going to prevent this in the future? So we had Jacobs Engineering and our wastewater engineer, Troy Baker, they all got together and they talked about the double redundancy that will be in place in the new system that will prevent something like this from happening in the future. And DEQ seemed to indicate that they were happy with that. So we may have to do something quickly, spend some money to cover the interim period, but that's not known at this time. On that bill. At your desk was a little card from the Columbia Area Transit. They are doing a transit master plan survey, and you're welcome to go online and answer their questions and give them a little feedback. Porcelain overpass, it's still ongoing. They've blocked the road off, but they haven't done any work.
Yeah, they posted that they need to wait for warmer temperatures.
It was 55 degrees anyway, but you're right, yeah. Anyway, all right. And then you're telling me that the governor's mask mandate has been changed to March 11th?
March 12th.
So, darn, that means our next council meeting to be maskless, orderless. Number 6, I'm really excited about. We received 5 applications for the finance director position to replace Mary Ann. Top candidate is Mr. Ken Andrews. He currently lives in Vancouver, but he is a longtime Hood River County family. He owns a home in Hood River. He will be moving to that home in Hood River should he accept this position. He is a CPA. He has spent over 20 years as the chief financial officer for the Clark County Waste Management group. This guy has got credentials up and down the yin yang. He wants to be here for 5 years because he wants to get invested in the retirement system. So he's committed to that. He is far and away the best candidate that we have. So I would like your permission to extend an offer to him tomorrow.
Question, did any other candidates have remotely close to certification this year?
Can I talk to you offline on that?
So, what, we have a little executive session afterwards? Oh.
Well, it sounds like it.
You get a CPA that's come to a little town this size and wants to be here, and he wants to be back in Hood River County. That's an amazing opportunity. This guy's a runner, he's fit. He likes to participate in the marathons. He's good friends with the people that put the marathons on. He's a member of the Stevenson Running Club. He's just
Sounds like he's an active community member.
very active guy. So
Okay.
he will be an excellent addition to our community.
Good find.
Marianne, did you have any input on that? You okay?
I don't want to put input because I don't want to be, I mean, like Gordon, he doesn't want input on his replacement. I don't want input on mine.
Fair enough. That's fair.
That-
That's all right. That's fair.
Thank you. I will extend an offer to him tomorrow.
When do we get to meet him?
Well, I don't know. He hasn't accepted the position yet, and he needs to give us a start date, and then we'll have it at the next council meeting after he starts.
Cool.
So,
Yay.
yeah, no kidding. And this guy is, I think Mary Ann is gonna, 4 months is gonna be enough to help this guy, because he's been doing most of the work for somebody else for 20 years. I think he can pick up what we do. He's gotta learn our software system, which he should be able to do, but he knows the basics of auditing. He had questions in our interview about our audit that, because he got back and read our audits, so. Very
It's a good sign.
Yeah, he's very, very sharp. Thank you. And then we're still broadcasting. Even after we get back to in-person meetings, we'll still broadcast in case public want to do that. And love us and like us on Facebook. We have 681 followers on our Facebook page.
Wow. That's a good page.
It is a good page.
That's a lot of good information.
Marilyn does a nice job.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Dean, you wanna go first?
Oh, sure. Well, I just want to start out by just saying I thought that the really appreciated the prompt action and communication regarding the wastewater spill. Really appreciate Gordon reaching out and just the action everybody took to keep that contained and turning into a bigger issue. And I reached out to you, Kathy, and told you privately how much I appreciated you kind of taking me under your wing and kind of showing me the ropes. But I want to say that publicly as well. And I really appreciate you just kind of not assuming I know things, but showing me. So thank you for that. And wanted to also recognize Mayor Walker for his service to our community, and my condolences to his family. And then I just wanted to also say thank you to Mary Ann for her years of service to our community, and be sad to see you moving on, Mary Ann, but I'm really happy to hear that we've got a great contender that we're extending an offer to. And then also wanted to recognize Gary in the office. You know, not only are we citizens of this community, but we're also customers. And I had some billing questions regarding my electric bill, and she was so helpful in getting me signed up for paperless statements and automatic billing. And just wanted to say thank you to Carrie as well.
Thank you.
Brenda? Yeah, I just want to say my condolences to Mayor Walker's family, and thanks for his years of service here for Cascade Lots. And I wanted to make sure I keep bringing up Dry Creek. Has the engineer got back to us?
Yes.
Okay. And thanks to the city staff for getting the packets together, and to all the council members, and to Tom for being willing to be an interim mayor. I think it will be good, and then whoever's interested can run for office. So we do need a mayor. So if you're, you know, a community member or something, that's something you're interested in, by all means, get it in. Thank you.
Not yet.
Well, by the time I get it ready. Right?
$20 filing fee or 20 signatures per ballot.
Yeah. All right.
I'd like to thank staff for all their hard work and preparing all this paperwork for us. And I know Mary Ann is hoping that retirement comes soon, but we'll miss her when she's gone. And Bobby, his service was great. It was kind of like, thanks for the memories. Yeah, and it was great to see such a large turnout.
That was incredible.
Yeah, so it was really well done. Todd did a great job down there for him. That was good to see. I got the scholarship from League of Oregon Cities to attend the Spring Leadership Conference. So the city's not gonna have to pay too much money.
Good job.
They are paying the $200 registration fee, and they're paying for 2 nights stay for me in Hermiston. So there's a lot of good, there's leadership workshops, there's a lot of breakout sessions. So you can network and build relationships with other city councilors and stuff, find out how to get police departments, how to get other things for your city, how they do it. So it's a great opportunity. I'm glad I was able to get that from them to save our city a few bucks at the same time. Yeah, and thank you, Gordon, for the call on the wastewater. That's a great improvement over last time, because now we have the information at hand before people started asking us questions. And that always improves how we look before the public. So, and that's about all I have.
Tammy? Okay, so we're marking May 18th as our budget meeting date. We've approved that, is that correct?
May,
I have to plan ahead. I'm just one of those people, sorry.
yeah, May 18th, is that what it
We're
was?
6 or 9, okay.
Yeah. Now, there's a budget training session the week before on the 11th, if you want to come, but you couldn't do on budgets.
I was also wondering with the wastewater still, because no one's asked this question, and I'm afraid to. Was it really costly for us as a town to clean this up?
No, we just went out and diluted it all, the spread line around, where we couldn't get it up. We had a tanker there from Jacobs Engineering that sucked up what it could get. So, it was not, it's gonna cost us, a little bit, but not, a lot.
Okay.
What's gonna cost us is the replacement of the equipment.
Right.
It cost us $4,000 to have somebody come in and try and diagnose what went wrong. And they couldn't really.
Did they figure it out?
Wow.
Oh. Well, they don't get paid.
Whatever was left was washed away today.
And just for funny, do you remember when we talked about wearing the smile faces when we went on your trip for the signs? You got any?
The cities that I talked to in Scotland and Ireland have never responded.
Okay.
So, but I have seen those elsewhere, but we'll take a look, we'll see.
Yeah, okay. I want to thank Tom Cramblett ahead of time for stepping up. Since we're in so many transitions, it just makes me feel a little bit more secure. And I want to thank Kathy for taking your job seriously. Yeah, that's right.
Always thank city staff for all the hard work, and I know putting these packets together and all the planning, step at a time. Thank you to Mayor Walker very much. I didn't have the opportunity to very long, but it was really an honor and a pleasure to work with him this past year, and he will be truly missed. And it was a very nice service and a nice turnout, and Todd did do a great job. The whole family did, and so really, my heart goes out to the whole family. I welcome Mayor Tom Cramblett back. He did a good job. I feel good with that. Thank you even to Kat for these amazing little creative tools that they gave us. I thought that was really creative, lighthearted and good. And thank you, Gordon, for finding someone. And he sounds like a really good candidate and very community minded, and I think that's positive for the community. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Right. Any other, need a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, we're adjourned.
Pete, have a safe trip.
Thank you. We'll see y'all in a couple weeks
Sounds good.
in person. Bye, everybody.
Bye.